Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis and today we'll be doing another speed build in The Sims 4. This one's actually part 2 for the downtown retail lot. So it's the middle of the 3 builds. There's one build, but then 3 different buildings as a part of that build. So this is the middle building. If you want to see the first part or the first building, which also I just realized that I did a build right to left. So I didn't realize that before. But so if you want to see the other building, the first one that I did, then the link will be in the description to that video as well as in the little eye icon as well. If I remember, hopefully I remember. But anyway, so this one is the middle. It's primarily the middle. I think I do go to this right here is a little bit of setup for the last build. The outside and stuff like that. But when it comes to the actual furnishing, that's all the middle build. So that is what we are doing today. This one has 1 store and then 6 apartments, I think it ends up with. And then the store is 2 floors. The apartment is on the 3rd floor. The 4th floor, I believe, is what's the word? Common area, but it's not common area. It's not really a patio, rooftop deck. And so it has a hot tub up there, which is really hilarious because, okay, so what I envisioned for this one is that you have a really wealthy owner of this building, this specific middle building. Maybe he owns the other 2 as well, but he at the very least owns this one. I don't know why. I just envision it being a man. Partially because I actually have assigned Sims in my build personally to this lot. So I'm envisioning a very specific Sim when I am saying all this. So that middle lot, that Sim, he really wealthy, owns that middle building, and he has put in the property managers for the actual apartment. He doesn't have good ones for that one or for the middle one. I think the other 2 buildings are probably owned by someone else. And so this middle building, it's just him. And he's kind of a little bit more slimy is what I would say. So he just has the apartments themselves aren't really the best taken care of. And he didn't have the best property manager. So they're very behind. They're very small. And they're very behind. They're really dirty and everything. Because I wanted to make, instead of having each and every apartment downtown perfect, because that is not realistic at all. I wanted to have something that was a little bit more run down a little bit. It's still pretty nice. I really wish you could have more than 1 elevator on the lot, because I actually did include an elevator, but of course I can make it look like there was an elevator on each floor. So the elevator is in not this build, but the next build, because I didn't realize at first that you could only have 1 elevator for a lot at one time. If anyone has a cheat for that, please let me know. If there's a mod for that, I actually, for the purposes of this build, I would download that mod. But yeah, so the elevator that I envisioned for the middle one was probably going to be the cheapest elevator option possible. And it's probably closed more often than it is open. It's one of those where you kind of just enter it and you are really worried about your own safety and whether or not you're going to get to the floor in one piece. It's one of those elevators. So that's kind of the idea for the actual apartments themselves. And then the storefront for this one, it's going to be on the front side of the building. All the apartments, the entrance is on the back. And it's the only one that has an entrance that is in the back. Of course, the cafe or the bakery, cafe, whatever you want to call it, that one has an entrance to the back patio, but that's for purposes of the bakery itself. And the bakery itself has that main front entrance. So for the apartments on this one, the only entrance to them, or the main entrance to them, is in the back, as opposed to everywhere else it's in the front. So the storefront, though, it's kind of like an Urban Outfitters-esque style store, maybe even like Aeropostale or something. Wait, that's the wrong store. Shoot. I don't remember the name. I think Urban Outfitters is probably the closest comparison to it. But I wanted something that was a little bit, like, supposedly, pretend the store is mainstream. It's like supposed to be a very run-of-the-mill fast fashion type store that you would see at pretty much any downtown, any mall, whatever the situation is, they would be there at one of those stores. So it's a clothing store. There's a kids section upstairs, which is hilarious to me. Now talking about all the rest of that, kids section, this is where the elevator would be, right next to those stairs. I believe that's where it would have ended up being. And then, of course, there's a laundromat here, too. I'm not sure how well that would work if you can use the laundromat here to the fullest, or to its fullest potential. So it actually is a really nice little laundry area, if I do say so myself. If you can hear my dog, you probably can, because she's right next to me. She is kind of settling down. She was looking out the window, looking out into the backyard. But right now, she has decided that she wants to come cuddle up with me. Although she's now standing on the couch while looking out the backyard. So, I don't know. And I think I hear a helicopter. Not sure if you're going to be able to hear that, but if you hear the helicopter, that's what that is. And now she's going to go investigate the helicopter. Anyway, so what was I even talking about? I do this whenever I get distracted, usually by her. Yeah. Oh, the laundromat. Probably the laundromat. There's also like a station in the laundromat. So like there's the tables and everything. So you can, do work or whatever you need to do. Because I feel like that is something you see at an actual laundromat. You know, how people actually do some work or something like that while they're waiting for their laundry to finish up and everything. So that way, someone doesn't come in and takes their laundry out, all that type of stuff. So I thought that was, something that I would go ahead and include, make it kind of realistic to an actual laundromat. And then, of course, we have the bathrooms. There was a little area for I think the bathrooms, this is the actual, oh no, is this part of the, okay, so those bathrooms are a part of the actual retail itself. And then there is I think a bathroom in the office manager's little area as well. They have a little area, that little, is supposed to be like a reception, or that's where you meet to sign a lease or something, get a tour of the apartment, which I didn't even make a good apartment. So you could have a fake office tours. How sometimes when you have apartments that are a little bit more rundown, there's always that one apartment they use as the model that looks nothing like any of the actual apartments. Yeah, I didn't do that, but actually that would have been a really good idea. So that's something to keep in mind if you wanted to change one of the apartments to make it really, really nice. So the rest of them, by comparison, just look like what it looks horrible. That also could be something cool, a little cool touch that you could have. Pretend that you have leasing things, and you can bring up people to the leasing office and everything. Those are the dressing rooms. They have mirrors in them, and then you pretend like the curtains actually close. But if this wasn't The Sims, and they didn't just try on the outfits right in front of the stuff, So you could pretend like they were taking outfits and stuff like that back to the dressing rooms and looking at them there. I did want to mention too, this is the middle length video out of the 3. The next video, before I forget to tell you about this, next video is actually just under an hour long. The whole build took me like a day and a half to finish, spread out over 5 days, but like actually it took me 36 hours. The like doing the math of what that means for the last video took me, not only did it take me twice as long for that last part of the build, the last building, but that means that it took me equivalent to a whole day. It took me 24 hours. And then I think, did I do that math correctly? No, wait, yes, no, yes. It took me 20 hours. And then the other 16, I think. Yeah. Somewhere around there. I don't know. I was really good at math back in school, but I haven't taken math since junior year of high school. So, give me a break. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So this one though, as you can see, I'm setting it up a little bit. There's not as much for this one setup wise to do. There's a lot of stuff, but at the same time, it's not nearly as much stuff as either the bakery is or the last one. The last one is a furniture store. I almost didn't say that here, but you know what? Might as well. It's a furniture store. So this one, as you can tell, there's not as much precursor to it because this is just, it's just a ton of clothes with setups for stuff. The other one, I basically designed multiple little rooms inside a big room. And then on the second floor of the furniture shop, there is pretty much all of the lighting that I could come up with. Some of them are sized down to make them fit within the parameters of the build itself. So some of them, so they're not hanging too low and everything. So there is that, but a good portion of them are regular size. And so there's a lot of lighting in there. And then I've put pretty much every shower in, a good chunk of the baths that I had at the time. Of course, I didn't have as many packs as I do now since I bought in some recently. But as you can imagine, there's a lot more detail in that than even this. This one has a lot of detail, but the next one, it's like an interior designer's dream shop, basically. It's a lot of detail with a lot of just random clutter that I had to fill in. And then the apartments, these ones, I would say that they were my toughest to figure out because I wanted to, the apartments in the next build, they were the toughest for me to figure out because I wanted them to look really high end and really nice and sleek and like an interior designer actually came into it. And the other ones I didn't really, I wanted them to look nice. Well, the ones in this building, no. I wanted them to look as dingy as possible and look as cheap as possible. So that made it pretty easy. I pretty much used the cheapest furniture, like an okay bed in some of them. It's like, I chose the same wallpaper for everything. It's like, those were easy because they were pretty much like, pretend like it comes furnished. And it comes furnished with like the worst possible furniture. So that's the inspiration for the apartments in this one. The last build, if you missed that one was supposed to be really nice and everything, but also it's not going to be a ton cluttered or anything, because it's also, one of them is going to be because there's 2 apartments in the other build. One of them would be a really high-end wealthy person who can live downtown and has like a 2-story loft, 2-bedroom, 2-story. 2-bathroom too. And it's huge, but not that many bedrooms or anything. And then the other apartment that's below that, I imagine that one would probably be the baker that owns the bakery. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the bakery owner also owns the whole building itself and was able to save up enough money. I would imagine though that the bakery owner was able to save up enough to at least afford the rent of the place and the rent of the apartment. Maybe he was able to buy the bakery itself, but not the apartments above. I don't know if that would even be a possibility, but maybe that was the situation or something like that. Or maybe has a workaround. So for my own build, I have the bakery owner in the apartment, the smaller apartment, the 2, and then someone who's a little bit wealthier in the top one. But the bakery owner is working to get to the point where she can own that whole entire building. So that's what I envision for that, at least. And the apartments themselves weren't necessarily supposed to be like the most decorated. They're pretty decorated, but I mean, this person, like if you're a bakery owner or if you know any bakery owners, most of the time they're not at home too much because they have to wake up early, and then typically they're open or like they're at least awake and at their bakery. If you could hear my dog, she just finally laid down right next to me. She's not going anywhere for a little while. But so they're up pretty much from like sunrise all the way into the whatever time their store closes. So if hers is kind of more like a coffee shop bakery, so hers probably closes like maybe 5 p.m., maybe 7 or 8 p.m. or something like that. And then she probably wakes us up. The store probably opens at like 5 a.m. or something like that. And then so she probably wakes up at like 2 a.m. or something. So, early mornings, early nights, and it's there pretty much every single day. So, of course, she is not going to really be in her apartment too much. So that one, it's decorated, but it's not like it's still pretty detailed, but it's not like, I would say that it was one of the easier ones to figure out. And, at that time, I was still fresh, and had all these ideas and everything. So the last build, I think one of the reasons why it took me so long was because it was the last build and I was just kind of getting over it a little bit. So that would probably be why. And so now we're getting into the actual apartments. They're pretty much just cookie cutter copies of each other. So it'll be pretty quick. I literally just copy and paste and change the colors and everything. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, it's not horrible. Some of them are like that one, I believe is a studio. There was actually a little cut you could see. Sometimes you can see my cuts, and you can see when it's a completely different time frame. Sometimes you can't. That one was very obvious. I don't usually talk about them, but every once in a while when I catch one, because most of the time I'm still looking at the screen, but sometimes I get just the way I talk. Sometimes I like look off too, so oftentimes I don't see the cuts too on my screen. But yeah, so this one, some of them are studio apartments. Like that one's going to be a studio. The first two are studios, and then some of the other ones have some walls and stuff like that, some more walls. So, I mean, there's still kind of some style to them. And as you can see, there's some posters. I'm putting it back in the first one because I saw some really good artwork while doing this one. There's a lot of artwork in this middle one because I feel like if you go into any of the dressing rooms, there's pretty much a different combination in each one. There's a lot of stuff that's supposed to bring more retail too. So your retail store, if you do decide to go with this build and you actually play with it, your retail will be popping off because there's so many retail boosters in this build. There's a lot. There's one for each build, and then there's some outside and there's some inside. This one specifically has so many inside, and of course, since it's all technically one lot, there's a lot. So that is also something to keep in mind. This would not be probably for the faint of heart. There's probably going to be a lot of people going in and out. And since there's 3 stores, you're running 3 stores at one time. So if you do play this one, this would probably be one that you like to visit more than you like to actually continue to play, like actually run yourself. So, but I don't know. I really like the idea of running this one too. So I might do, maybe that's what I should do. I should do some play tests and stuff like that. I mean, I've done a few play tests with this, but do some specific, that's something too. In the final build, those speakers, I'm sorry, going off onto the tangent because I just saw those speakers. Those are a little bit too high. I didn't realize that until after I had already uploaded it onto the gallery. So they technically clip with the ceiling. You might want to lower those going into it. Besides that, there's pretty much not too much that I would change. I think I changed bedroom, but I'm pretty sure I changed the bedroom after I play tested it and I uploaded the finished version and not the version before I play tested it. At least I hope I did that, because not only did I play test, but that's when I went in and did all the baking. That's when I went in and did all the mannequins. So a lot of things were changed before I uploaded it to the gallery. I don't think I did a screen recording of that. So I can't remember because this build was in September. So, and how many months ago was that? That would have been 3 months ago. When because this was literally dead smack in the middle of September too. So yeah, 3 months ago. I can't remember. I do apologize about that. I don't quite remember what it ends up being at the very end. All I do know is that the speakers are a little bit too high. I am pretty confident though that just from knowing my own time frame and knowing that I wanted to upload it after I had all the baked goods and after I had all the mannequins, so it was like firmly done, then I'm pretty sure that it should be like that in the gallery. I'm not sure if it's saved that way, but I did add stuff to the mannequins. So then what else? The bedrooms, as you can see, so these are some more of the apartments. There's not much going on in them, as you can see. Those 2 are very tiny. I will say, like, in the bedroom specifically, there's pretty much just a room for a bed and maybe a side table or 2, and that's it. So there's not room in these apartments, like, at all. And what was I was listening to true crime while playing this or building this. I can remember that very distinctly. I can't remember exactly what I was listening to or kind of watching, but I can tell you right now that I was watching true crime while doing this. And of course, just like the other build, there are fire escapes as well on both sides. They connect all the way down to the retail as well. So the retail has their own fire escapes. So that's part of the thing that I wanted to include and make it somewhat realistic. And then there's alleyways in between the retails. I thought about making it a true alleyway, like all the way through. But then I also like the idea of they connect somewhat in the front. So that's part of the reason why I did that. They all connect in the front, but they don't connect for that much before they go into the alleyways. My dog is now staring at me because she wants to make her bed, but she wants me to change And I don't know how she wants me to change. But I know she wants me to either lay down or she wants something. She wants to cuddle with me, but she also doesn't want to be on the couch right now. So, life with a dog. You can kind of understand what they're thinking, but not all the time. So, I'm just glad that she's not making a ton of sound in this video. But yeah, so as you can see, this is actually pretty much all of the, and she's back up right next to me. But yeah, so this is pretty much all of the build. We're getting to the top, the balcony area, or whatever, the rooftop garden, I guess is another word that you could, or another way you could describe it. I didn't include too much in here. I included obviously a basketball court, not the biggest basketball court because it's kind of, it's the right length, but it's very narrow. So there's that. But yeah, so I built this before I had downloaded the tool mod, and I wanted to actually make a garden with like flowers and everything and everything up there. Is a fountain. Of course, I wanted to also do like a little pathway, but since it was up on the rooftop, it was kind of hard to do everything that I really wanted to do, since I couldn't do any of the paint tools. So that's kind of why I ended up just doing a kind of basic. Plus, I feel like it kind of makes sense. I mean, they have a hot tub. I feel like the owner wouldn't shell out a ton of money to just have like a really gorgeous, pristine garden when, I mean, maybe to get more people in and be like, hey, look at the amenities. Don't look at the apartments, but look at the amenities. And then you realize that the amenities really aren't that great. So I like it. I like that it ended up looking more unfinished than I had originally intended. Not only for time purposes, but I think it actually makes a little bit more sense, because who in their right mind is going to be that type of owner who would actually spend all of this time on the garden and then spend no time on the apartments? That just seems a little weird. So yeah, so all of the amenities aren't bad, but it definitely doesn't make up for how bad the actual apartments are, which that not only does that feel a little bit more realistic to me, but then what I was going to do was going to go through debug, and I didn't have Better Build By at the time to help me sort through all of debug. So it saved me time, it saves you some time in the videos, and I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. So that's part of the reason why I didn't do it. And of course, I already mentioned the other part. But yeah, so we're pretty much at the end of the build, or of this part of the build, the middle building of the 3-building build. So I will see you in the next part, which is coming out tomorrow. In the meantime, all my social media is in the description, as well as my dog's Instagram, if you want to go check that out. Please hit the like button if you like this video, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content, and the notification bell to know when I post all of my videos. I do have a bonus video coming out Sunday, so be on the lookout for that one as well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!